I want to show you something that most doctors will never tell you in a clinic. Not because it's dangerous, not because it's a secret, but because it's simple. And simple doesn't sell appointments. There is a drink, 2 ingredients that you can make in your kitchen right now in under 5 minutes. And roughly 10 minutes after you finish it, you will feel it working, not in your head, in your body. A warmth that begins in your upper abdomen and slowly spreads downward toward your pelvic region. That warmth is not your imagination. That is blood moving. That is your nervous system activating. That is exactly what needs to happen for a strong, full erection. I've been practicing men's health for years. I work with men dealing with erectile dysfunction, pelvic floor disorders, and the kind of issues that nobody talks about at the dinner table, but everybody is quietly suffering from. And over again, I see men who have tried everything, pills, pumps, and programs without ever understanding the actual biology behind why their erections are weak in the first place. So before I give you the recipe, I want to give you the science, because if you understand why this approach works, you stop chasing random fixes and you start making real lasting changes to your health. Let's begin by addressing the underlying cause of the issue. An erection is fundamentally a blood flow event. When you become aroused, your nervous system sends a signal. That signal triggers the release of a molecule called nitric oxide into the walls of your blood vessels. Nitric oxide causes those vessels to relax and expand. Blood rushes into 2 sponge-like chambers inside the penis, the corpus cavernosum and the corpus spongiosum. As they fill, pressure builds. The outer membrane, called the tunica albuginea, stretches tight, and you achieve a full, firm erection. That is the mechanism. Every single step depends on 2 things: healthy blood vessels that can actually expand, and a nervous system that can send and receive signals efficiently. If either of those is compromised, if your vessels are stiff, inflamed, or damaged, or if your nerve conductivity is slow, the whole process breaks down. And this is what happens to most men as they age, especially men who are under chronic stress, eating poorly, not sleeping, or carrying extra weight. Now here's what's intriguing. There is a molecule, nitrous oxide, that sits at the center of all of this, and most men have never heard of it. Nitric oxide is produced inside the lining of your blood vessels. It is the chemical signal that tells those vessels to open up. Without it, erection does not happen. It is not optional. It is not supplemental. It is the mechanism itself. So, when I tell you that the first ingredient in this drink directly increases nitric oxide levels in your blood, you should understand exactly why that matters. That ingredient is cocoa. This is not the sugar-loaded powder you stir into hot milk. Real cocoa. Unsweetened, minimally processed cocoa powder. The kind that tastes bitter and dark but is nothing like dessert. Cocoa does 3 distinct things that are directly relevant to erectile function. First, it protects your blood vessels. The flavonoids in cocoa, particularly epicatechins, strengthen the walls of your arteries and veins and reduce oxidative damage from free radicals. Everything downstream suffers if your blood vessels become inflamed or compromised. Cocoa addresses that at the structural level. Second, cocoa improves nerve conductivity. The signal that initiates your erection, the one that travels from your brain through your spinal cord and into your pelvis, moves faster and more efficiently when nerve health is supported. When nerve conductivity improves, responsiveness improves. The connection between stimulus and reaction becomes sharper. Third, and this distinction is the one that matters most, cocoa increases nitric oxide synthesis in your blood. It does its job by stimulating endothelial cells, the cells that line your blood vessels, to produce more nitric oxide naturally. This ingredient is not a supplement flooding your system with a chemical. The result is your own body being given the tools to do what it was already designed to do. So cocoa is working on 3 levels simultaneously, protecting the vessels, sharpening the nerve signal, and increasing the molecule that makes the whole event possible. Everything points in the same direction. Now the second ingredient, cayenne pepper. For a long time, people thought cayenne worked primarily by stimulating taste receptors, that it was just a heat sensation on your tongue with no more profound effect. But that is not the main mechanism at all. Cayenne pepper contains a compound called capsaicin, and capsaicin does not primarily stimulate taste receptors. It stimulates pain receptors, specifically a receptor called TRPV1. That burning, tingling sensation on your tongue is what your pain receptors are activating. And when they activate, your body responds the way it always responds to intense sensation. It releases a cascade of neurotransmitters and hormones, serotonin, dopamine. These are not just mood chemicals. These are the substances tied directly to excitement, arousal, and heightened physical alertness. When they flood your system, you enter a state of warmth and activation, the exact neurological state that precedes and supports sexual arousal. But here's where it becomes truly remarkable. When you combine cocoa and cayenne together, something happens that neither ingredient produces alone. Most men who drink this beverage report the same experience, a wave of warmth that begins in the upper abdomen, right around the area of the solar plexus, spreads downward. And I want to be clear, that sensation is not imagination. The result is not the placebo effect. The cause is physiology. From that region of the abdomen, major nerve pathways travel down into the pelvic area. As microcirculation improves, as the small capillaries and vessels that feed deep tissue begin to open, nervous impulses follow. The warmth you feel is a real reflection of what is happening inside your body. Blood moving, nerves activating, the system coming online. Now let me show you exactly how to make this drink, because preparation matters more than most people realize. Take 200 milliliters of water, add 2 full teaspoons of real unsweetened cocoa powder, add 1 pinch of cayenne pepper. I mean 1 pinch. This is not a dish where more is better. Too much cayenne will overwhelm everything else and potentially irritate your stomach. Start with less than you think you need. You can always adjust. You can also add a small amount of vanilla extract purely for taste. Bitterness of the cocoa and makes the drink far more pleasant without interfering with any of the active compounds. Combine the cocoa and cayenne in the water. Bring the mixture to a gentle boil while stirring constantly. This is important. You need everything fully dissolved and integrated, not just sitting in layers. Once it reaches a gentle boil, remove it from the heat. Now here's the step that most people get wrong. Do not add honey yet. Let the drink cool to approximately 50 degrees Celsius. Warm to the touch, but not scalding. Honey contains enzymes, antioxidants, and bioactive compounds that are genuinely beneficial, but those compounds are destroyed above 60 degrees. If you add honey to boiling or near boiling liquid, you are not adding medicine, you are adding expensive sugar. So let it cool first, then add honey to your taste. Drink is ready. Drink it slowly. Pay attention to what happens in the 10 to 15 minutes that follow. One more thing I want to say, and this is important. This drink works, but it works best when you understand what it is doing and when you realize that erectile health is not an isolated problem. It is a window into your overall health, your blood vessel function, your nerve health, your metabolic state, your stress levels, your sleep. Weak erections are often the first visible signal of cardiovascular decline. Men who experience ED in their 40s have measurably higher rates of heart disease in the following decade. This statement is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to inform you. Because when you understand the connection, you stop treating the symptom and you start addressing the system. This drink is a starting point, a real, physiologically grounded intervention that you can experience in your body today. But the deeper work, the diet, the movement, the stress management, and the sleep is where the long-term transformation happens. Take your health seriously. Not because you are afraid, because you deserve to feel strong, capable, and fully alive. Gagshi serao and for sergio. And she ati echi and sure I've has chi. Ager port isti jaxider ad si ang sis triwar. I record at sea, Ciao or bye. I will see you in the next one.